Hello, I'm Perry from Rennet and Rind, and I'm talking to you today because either you ordered yourself or someone else gave you a mystery cheese box, Christmas edition. This is what you've all been waiting for, guys. This is pretty monumental. This is a year's worth of hard work, graft, all in one box. So some of you know who I am, some of you don't, so I'll introduce myself. So I am Perry James Wakeman. I am an affineur. In these rooms, these cheeses, they are real. I mature all these cheeses, brushing, turning, washing, getting the best out of the cheese. I'm also a world cheese judge, so I travel around the world, especially selected as a British judge to look after all the cheeses, or judge all the cheeses and find what the best one is in the world. This year was quite an exciting year for me. I was inducted into kind of the Hall of Fame of cheese people at the French Embassy. So I've got this big medallion, and that was an absolute massive honour. So the reason why I told you all those credentials, being Britain's best maturer for the first year that it was held, and the second year invited to judge this year, so not third, but 2 in a row, is because hopefully I am particularly qualified to give you the best rounded selection that would tick every box that you need on Christmas Day when you're sitting down with your family. I say Christmas Day. I know a lot of you will be tucking into this immediately as you get it, and I do not blame you because this is quite the selection. The idea behind this is that it's what I would eat on Christmas Day. And that's what's true all the way through. Work starts on these boxes 30 days after we send out the last ones. So we're chopping and changing, working out balance, and it's just such amount of huge effort. We are an independent business. We are fighting against massive conglomerates, and we are still sticking to the old ways. So normally at the end of the video, I say my thank yous, but I want to do this right now because, you know, we did a lot of cheese this year, and we're sticking to the old methods, right? We hand cut, hand wrap. There is no machinery involved. And I want to give a particular shout out, if you can give a round of applause, at your family table to Mark, Cherie and Callum and all of the Rennet and Rind team. You know who you are. This year has been absolutely monumental, and I'm so proud of the cheese that we're putting in front of people. So that's my thank yous. Now it's all about you and your family. So yes, in your box you would have got the 6 cheeses, or you would have got the extras. We'll talk about those later, if you opted for them. In your box, a little bit more, you got some Christmas care guide, which tells you about all we do. You've got be your own cheese judge. You've got a little cheese quiz. They're not too difficult, hopefully. Might be a bit of fun. See who's the best, the cheese master, up to my level maybe. And then some tasting notes if this video's interrupting your Christmas meal. But it's always a privilege to think that I'm in thousands and thousands of households at Christmas dinner simultaneously, which is quite cool. So I'm going to stop talking, and I'm not going to stop, I'm going to start talking and get straight into your first cheese. Now, it's really important that you eat all these cheeses in order. They're going to do something to each other, erase some memories, create some new ones. So eat them in order to get the best experience, then have at it, you know. So this one I'm very excited about to cut open. I wanted to show you this because, you know, this has been bubbling around as, should it be on the board? Shouldn't it be on the board? Is it too soft? Is it too, not dangerous, too difficult to send over this really difficult festive period to send out? And this is Yarlington, which is a beautiful wash rind cheese. So it's washed in the kind of Tom Oliver cider, the godfather of cheese. It's made by David Jowlett down in the Cotswolds. And it's got this beautiful cloud-like kind of peachy rind. You can see that as I'm doing that. You know, and this is what I wanted to do live on camera, really, was to cut into the center and lift that cheese up and just look at that. So it's a bit cold in here, but you're going to get that really lovely oozy breakdown. You know, it's a wash rind cheese, so it smells a little bit pongy, right? But always with these cheeses, particularly this one, their bark is far worse than their bite. So please give it a go if you're not particularly a wash rind cheese fan. Obviously, I'm trying to tick boxes for everyone, so I'm trying to find, you know, Granddaddy loves strong blues, etc., etc. You know, it's a difficult balancing act to do. But this is just absolutely stunning. You can just glide your knife through there completely. I mean, it's fantastic. It's got this beautiful peachy rind on the outside. And then, shall we have a taste of our first cheese together? I'm excited. The texture is as good as it looks. You know, it's got that beautiful silky note that coats the palate, really hangs around as well, doesn't dissipate, lingers in a good way. So milky, a little bit of sour cream kind of going in there, but so gentle, so subtle, so easy for our first cheese. That rind is masterfully washed. Look how thin it is. Adds a degree of chew as well. You know, if that dissipated, it would probably be bland. But that mix between that experience is absolutely gorgeous. And it's a great cheese to start off on. We've got this subtlety that's coming in where it's so moreish. You can go back for more and more and more of that. It's got a little bit of mintiness in the rind, but not too much. It's absolutely beautifully balanced. And that is Yarlington, your first cheese. Another 5 more to go. So let's move on to the next. We've got Isle of Mull cheddar. Now, Isle of Mull has been a cheese over the last 6-7 years that's been a little bit up and down for us, you know. But the guys over there have been absolutely nailing it this year. And this batch, arguably, and I'll have to come back to you in 6 months. It takes me a while to deliberate. This is the best cheddar I think I've ever had. It's a stunning big round of sort of 25 kilo wheel of cheese, and it's heavily larded, right? So it's got a huge, you can see just on the rind, if you've got some of the rind on there, that you've got this kind of this indentation. That's a cloth wrap on the outside locking in that moisture. Now, normally with higher moisture and creamier cheddars, you don't get the power. This is contrary to that opinion. It is so powerful and beautifully creamy as well. So when you cut it open, let's break it off. Let's have a little, so it's got a little bit of acidity that moves into the area of citrus, you know, but it also has like a pear drop kind of vibe to it, a little bit of fragrance that's in there, which is absolutely stunning and powerful. You kind of know you're gonna have something quite big. So let's have a taste. Beautiful chew. You know, you're getting a little bit of the salt crystals that are in there as well. You know, not overpowering, but nice and light, that crunch. The power, it hits you here and it lets you know where it comes from. Now, there's such an interesting note in this, which is it's slightly boozy. And that is because the cows are fed on a local distillery's grains. And that booziness just comes through to me in such a whiskey, barrel-aged way that's just lingering out the back. But the really interesting thing about this cheese is the length. It just keeps on going. It is without a doubt, like, honestly, one of the best cheddars out there. And this batch, you know, cheese changes per batch, you know, depending on which way the wind was blowing, you know, when the cows are fed, when the cows were milked, and everything from this batch just went so perfectly. It's absolutely stunning. I really hope you guys enjoy that. 2 down. Next one, Pave Cobble. Pave Cobble is sheep's milk. So, you know, I have to get these in here. I know some of you guys are a little bit against the things that are not cow, but I know the auntie down the end of the table that loves these with a passion is thanking me. But I've opted for a light one. So Pave Cobble was made by Roger Longman at White Lake. Really great, masterful cheesemaker. Makes a huge range of our cheeses here, including this Rachel Reserva, the Rachel Normal. And we just wanted something in the middle of the palate to kind of, in middle of the bowl, to cleanse and also intrigue people who don't normally like these cheeses. It's got this really interesting shape, which I wanted to bring in as well. It's this truncated kind of pyramid with the top sliced off, and it's covered in ash. Now, ash was used to preserve basically cheese. Quick history lesson. Years ago, you'd make your hard cheese at the top of the mountain and you make softer and softer as you get down to the bottom. Soft lactic goat's cheese and sheep's cheeses were the last to be made. And imagine those cobble roads. You're on your cart, you're taking your cheese to the market, it's bumping everywhere, you've got these delicate rinds, and it smashes up the rind and people want money off. So what they'd do is sprinkle a little bit of ash on there, and then that would make the cheese look far more prettier and more appealing than bashed up. But in modern times, we know that charcoal and ash is actually an alkaline. So it balances out the acidity beautifully. But it's got this kind of ring around the outside, which is so well done. It's not removing from the rind, and we've got this nice moussey interior. So let's have a taste. Clayey in a beautiful way. A totally different texture from that running Yarlington that you can see at the corner of your eye. And the gentleness of that sheep floral flavour that people don't like is beautiful. And as it evaporates, you get this nice degree of just slight lamb, you know, that comes through. It is such a beautiful cheese. It's such a delicate experience. And the finish of it is like you've just had a nice glass of the most nutritious milk ever. It's such a beautiful finish. That's amazing as well. I'm really happy, guys. This is a lot of pressure on me. Christmas is so important to so many people. Like I keep on saying, we do so much work on these cheeses. We're only a small business. You know, this takes a lot of work to get it right. And I feel like, you know, 3 out of 3, I'm so happy with these at the moment. So next cheese we have up is Kirkhams, Lancashire. So this was quite interesting, Kirkhams. You know, we got this batch in June. I cut it open, big wheels like this, and I thought that is one of the most perfectly made cheeses that I've ever seen. This beautiful halo around the outside, the rind, the interior, absolutely perfect. And then I ironed it, had a taste, and I thought, that's probably one of the best cheeses I've ever had. Is it the best cheese that I've ever had? And it's taken me 6 months to work out if it is. And I think this is. I think this is my favourite cheese, this particular batch that I've ever had. Now, territorials are hit and miss with people. People don't quite understand them. But Kirkhams is a raw milk, one of the last remaining, well, I think it is the last remaining raw milk Lancashires that's made. And to get to that level of perfection when the cheese is relatively simple, because it's kind of one note around acid, is masterful in my opinion. And this is my favourite, I'm confident of it now after 6 months of deliberating, my favourite cheese experience I've ever had, and I have tried thousands upon thousands of cheese. So let's have a smell. Grassy, buttery, little bit of that acid coming through, touch of yogurt. You break it open, it's got a beautiful crumble in the mouth. There's this beautiful balance between moisture and dryness, which shouldn't be possible. But as you bring it around, it just layers the flavor. That is stunning. Sorry, that is so nice. It is like, God, it is like acid, you know, so gentle on the acidity. And that journey, that zip all the way up, and how it layers back down in that acid. Coming up, lemony. Then next layer down, Greek yogurt. Then sour cream. And then it just elongates. These cheeses shouldn't be long. They shouldn't keep on giving. And then right at the end, it leaves the palate, you forget about it, and you get a beautiful savory, umami, ever such a touch of soy sauce at the end. It is like, you know, if you like Lancashires, you like territorial styles, I would be hard pressed for you to find a better experience than that. It is Kirkhams, Lancashire. Take a bow. That is absolutely stunning stuff, and almost can bring me to tears as someone who loves British artisan cheeses. Okay, let me shuffle down a little bit. Little break. Just remember, guys, you've got your name, short description, QR code. You can scan that on the individual cheeses to find out way much more than them. So if you want to go a deep dive into, you know, the cows, the place, our website has all the information. Now, let me come to this one, Baron Bigod, right? It has been a feature in our box for the last 3 years. And at Christmas, we have to have a brie. And as frustrating as it is, potentially, this brie is just fantastic. It is made by Johnny and Dulcie Crickmore in Suffolk at Bungay. This cheese arguably is one of the best in the world, let alone Britain. It is absolutely masterful. And I mean, we've been maturing here from the start of December, over 2,000 roughly Baron Bigods, turning them once a week to get this beautiful, all the way through profile. Now, I wanted to give you a Baron Bigod which is a little bit more rambunctious. You know, I decided on the Yarlington and how clean that is. I wanted to go for power with the Baron. So we matured them a little bit more to be a little bit more spiky, which is very difficult for us this time of the year. You know, we like to usually cut on the same day that you eat your cheese, but DPD, we love to get them out before because we want everyone to have their cheese for Christmas. But let's just cut into this. I mean, it is unbelievable. Look at that. Now, some of you guys, this may be sticking to your paper. Please take a spoon and take that off because it is absolutely delicious. I don't think we've matured. You know, we had an idea of what we wanted to do with Baron. When it came in, we had a thick chalk line, you know, still a lovely cheese, and we wanted to get it there. And obviously my team, like I said, hand cut these and hand wrap them. And every single one, you know, there's sort of 9 of us on a table, cutting, wrapping. Every single one of them was absolutely bang on. So this is the most successful, I think, cheese where we have wanted a profile to be strong. And I think we've achieved it. So aroma, a little bit of biscuity in there, which I wasn't expecting. Savory, parsnips, cabbage, little bit of mushroom, but more like cooked saute mushrooms. Let's have a taste. There is nothing to like in there. Salt balance, perfect. Moving into that Parma beefy, stock, Bovril kind of area, but just elongated into Brussels sprouts like we were smelling on the aroma. That is a cheese. And you can see normally we put brie at the front. And you can see why the journey to the Baron Bigod is so important. And the way we've elevated it and the way we've reset the palate with the Kirkhams on the acidity. So you can get a full frontal kind of flavour. Absolutely delicious. I'm very happy. Your final cheese. Now, I think these cheeses are absolutely perfect. And I think most people would like them. I think most people would say these might be the best cheese experiences they've ever had. Now, I moved to Pevensey, right? Now, that sounds negative. I didn't mean it to be negative. I wanted something in here that always challenges perception and provides that point of conversation. Did you like it, didn't you? And I'm a blue lover, and I love my blues to be blue and let me know about it. Pevensey is made by the most stunning couple, Martin and Hazel, the most nicest people. You know, you place your order and you're receiving a message from them saying, thank you ever so much. It's just beautiful. Cheesemakers are beautiful people. And this is kind of like a Gorgonzola style, right? But we stick it in these rooms, not these, we've got another room for these, and we dry it out a little bit. As we begin to dry it out, it becomes more and more powerful. That what I describe it as like a little kind of reduction that's on there, you know, and it comes through. It comes through as power. So aroma, that biscuity note is there, but that tang is very much there. It's like a wine almost. It's like smelling, you know, opening a bottle of, you know, kind of like Malbec or something like that and having a sniff in. It's got that kind of slightly alcohol note to it. And the texture between your fingers, unlike any other one, fudgy. I love that so much. It leans into this chocolatey area, piquancy, spice, aromatics, you know, fruity, so fruity, like fermented pears in a jar that you've done, or almost like a slow gin kind of vibe. The texture is beautiful. It lingers expertly. It is absolutely fantastic. So there are your 6 cheeses, guys. I hope I've done you proud. I hope my team have done you proud and you massively enjoy these. I'm very, very happy. It's always an anxiety-ridden time for me to wonder what people would think on Christmas Day. But I love these cheeses and I'm going to be really proud to eat them on Christmas Day myself. So if you have just bought the cheeses with your biscuits and your notes, then enjoy it away. If you have got the additions, this part's for you. So I'm going to move these all a little bit on. You can stay on if you like. I really appreciate, you know, what kind of horrible. You don't know what you're missing out on, I suppose. Let me just move over here. So everyone knows we love MasterChef winner 2010, Dhruv Baker, and what he's done at his company over at Tempest. They've recently merged with a company called Rare and Pasture. And those guys, I mean, I've always loved Tempest. Those guys with Dhruv, with Tom, have elevated once again. And we got started talking with Dhruv about what are we going to do this year for charcuterie that's really special. And then he spoke to me about this that they were making. So this is an air-dried ham, so it's pork, but we've got Iberian pork, right? So you know the Iberico, we can't technically call it that. This is like the first stuff that's made in the UK with that Iberian pork, fed an amazing diet to really lift the quality of the meat. Now, when Dhruv gave me the first slices of these, I had it and I just couldn't believe that I was eating British. You know, everything we do is British. We love British artisan. But the first time I had to call him up and say, right, have you just re-sliced something and put it in a pack? Because I cannot believe. Now, Tempest is amazing, but you know, the continental stuff, they've got a leg up on us. They've been doing it for thousands of years very, very well. I wanted to share this with you, and thank you for Dhruv for finding enough for me to share with you and allowing us to be the first in the UK to have this. Because it's the first time that we really have competed on a continental level with those. Let's have a taste. Texture stunning, complexity stunning. Salt, nice and long, beautiful with a glass of wine. It's almost like, I can't stop eating this stuff. The fat is lovely. It's got this slight vanilla, slight nutty finish. It just lets the quality of the meat absolutely sing. And it's such a pleasure to think that, you know, this experience, you know, you're the first ones to experience this in the UK. This is not readily available. As I said, Dhruv has been very kind to give it to us early. Tempest. Rare and Pasture now, merged with another company. If they are producing this level of stuff right now, I just can't wait to see the charcuterie industry in a couple of years. Well done, Dhruv. Well done, Rare and Pasture. I hope you enjoy some proper British, amazing standard charcuterie. And the guys that bought the chutneys, we've got green tomato chutney from Elsbeth, our favourite chutney maker, the sweet lady that's seen in hedgerows picking loads of things. So we have obviously a large range to look at and work out what we want. And the general vibe of this board is that the cheese feels very, very real. It feels grounded, it feels salt of the earth. So we didn't want something overly sweet. And Elspeth recommended that we have the green tomato chutney. Now, that's because it does have sweetness and spiciness that's in there. But it also has a little bit of that grounding from the green tomato. Let's pop this on here. Now, it will go with all the cheeses. But one of my top recommendations, of course, is the Isle of Mull. You know, you've got that creaminess in there, that sweetness in there. I'm going to finish that off. You know, we've got that Christmassy vibe in there. You know, it's a beautiful vibe with the cheddar. Doesn't overpower it. Perfect. Oh, and it finishes so well. Now, I will warn you guys, please try all the cheeses first before you get stuck into the chutney. We want you to have the full experience of all the cheeses. But I'm thinking the Kirkhams, that was Kirkhams I tried it with. The Isle of Mull, I'll do that with that. Let's give that rather peckish. Got some raisins in there as well. It's a bit of kind of a bit coronation-y as well. With the cheddar, that really works. But equally really nice. So the Kirkhams and the Isle of Mull work with this amazing. And some of you got the wine as well. I can't bring it in these rooms, it's glass. Oh, this is supposed a bit smaller and hasn't got a viscosity kind of liquid in it. But Saffron Grange is a phenomenal vineyard that's in Saffron Morden. If you ever go there, please check out the vineyard. It's a lovely place to go. And that would obviously always go with your most creamiest cheeses. So with your Baron Bigod and your Yarlingtons. And that's your lot from me. I hope you guys really, really love your cheeses and have a beautiful Christmas. And I hope, you know, in the new year, you guys continue to buy British artisan cheese because we need to support it because look what we've got. We've got something really outstanding that the world would want. And if we keep on supporting it, we've got so much better year after year that the sky's the limit for us. We could be exporting this all around the world. And, you know, we're here because you want it. So, Merry Christmas, guys. Enjoy the cheese. Love to the family.